Namaskar traders and very good evening. Well, it's a little late from my end today. 17 minutes past 9 p.m. On the 9th of Jan 2023. It's a Monday evening. And I would say the bounce back today from the Nifty was a good bounce back. So far, so good. It was a 230 points gain at the end of the day's close, almost 1.3%. Closed right little below that 18,200 mark. 18,200 should ring a bell because 18,200 and round about that number, in the recent past we had discussed multiple times the existence of supports and resistances and its importance. We can clearly see that the prices did manage to move above that level. We had kept this red line, and then towards the afternoon it did slip quite sharply and then closed with a decent bounce back. So on a day-to-day basis, this was a day when we have a higher high and a higher low, and a pretty decent green bodied candlestick. And I would say it's a good bounce back. Now, important question when we get these kind of moves is, will this bounce back sustain or not? Are we going to see a bottom in place? And are we going to see 18,400, 18,400, 18,500? Or is this just another kind of a dead cat bounce and the markets will slip on the downside? I think we should give the market and ourselves one more day, that's tomorrow's price action, based on which we will have far better clarity about the answer of this question than what we have tonight. I'll talk about the downside first. And from the downside point of view, any break of today's low, if today's low gets broken right tomorrow, I don't know, something can happen, global markets, we can open down tomorrow morning. If that happens, and by any chance tomorrow, if you see that today's low gets broken, then you should brace yourself for much further downside than these lows. These lows will fall short. Now the good side, the flip side is it's a good close, it's a good bounce back, and even if it just bounces back and finds itself above 18,200, then I think there is enough evidence that we have a short-term bottom in this area. What I'm hinting towards is, if you look at the weekly charts, so far we should not completely count this green candlestick because it's just one day old. It's got 4 more days to go. But if I ignore this, and if you take a look at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then you will be finding a coil kind of a behavior wherein the market is getting, it's shrinking within a narrower range on the weekly time frame, which essentially means that we are heading for a weekly breakout sometime soon, right? Structure of the trend is positive, momentum is negative, momentum is a leading indicator. So are we heading for a down move, or is the trend strong enough and the momentum will reverse and we are heading for an up move? That's essentially the directional clarity that we need from the market. As of now, I would say we don't have strong directional clarity from the market. We were in a pretty decent downtrend, a bounce back, 3-day move, and now a very encouraging bounce back that we saw in today's trade. So both sides of the market will offer us trading opportunities to make or break money. And I think, as I said, let's give one more day's time to the Nifty and we'll get better clarity after tomorrow's close. Now, after today's close, the good thing is the short-term trend has reversed. So that's a good sign. And if we see a move above today's high tomorrow morning, then it only kind of confirms the reversal of the short-term trend and raises high possibility of 18,320 and then towards 18,400, 450. So I think today's low is far more important for the market if the market wants to sustain. Bank Nifty was a kind of little behind the Nifty's gain throughout the day. In fact, clearly it was observed in the first hours of trade that Bank Nifty was in no mood to perform or kind of contribute to today's gain, and it was primarily the non-banking stocks which was doing. Now, at the end of day's trade, the Bank Nifty got close to 1% gain. And I would say the same thing for the Bank Nifty, that today's low will be very important. It should not be compromised tomorrow. I'll repeat, and I don't want to scare that. In any case, if today's low gets broken tomorrow, Nifty or Bank Nifty, this low will fall very, very short. I think both these lows will fall very short. So it's at a very, very important juncture where the index has a chance to extend today's bounce back. Today's bounce back is just 1 day move. Will it sustain on that or not? It's very important. Now, when I sort the sectoral gainers here, I see IT is the biggest gainer. This does not help me much. This does not give me much confidence, because IT was one of the biggest contributor in the recent 3-day fall, and it broke below its recent swing lows. And it gave a phenomenal sharp, equally sharp bounce back in today's trade. TCS, Infosys, kind of stocks which were falling sharply had given a kind of a V recovery. You can see this from a 75-minute time frame. It's very difficult to catch the trend in these kind of moves. Shorts would have definitely faced the pinch or the punch in today's trade from the IT stocks. Metals are relatively better because metals are in a well-defined uptrend. Metals did not contribute so much to the recent weakness. Today, throughout the day, we were fishing Tata Steel. We're trying to actually get on board some of these names. So I think they are looking relatively better than the IT if I pick the top 2 or 3 sectoral gainers. Oil and gas, of course, Reliance was a phenomenal move which supported the gain from the oil and gas pack. But real estate, if you take a look at the reality, if you take a look at CNX Finance, and also if you take a look at something like the private sector banks, then I would say that keep an eye on these sectors, the private sector banks, the real estate, the finance stocks. In case, if we get a surprise move on the downside, then high chance that that surprise move will be fueled by stocks from these pockets of the market. FIIs continue to sell. I think this is the 12th consecutive day of selling, though marginal numbers, but still, nevertheless, it's the 12th consecutive red day from the FIIs in our market, the cash market provisional numbers. We'll take a look at the top 15 stocks, how they behaved in today's trade. And you can clearly see it's TCS, Bharti Airtel and Infosys, mostly Infosys and TCS, which were falling very sharply, managed the bounce back. But I would take my time and talk a little bit about Reliance. Now, Reliance bounced back very well in what we can see, almost a tad above that 2% mark, closing near the highest point of the day. I think it did everything right to support the index. And Reliance is so often known to do this to our markets. So often it supports the index when it needs the most. So a reliable stock, an extremely reliable stock for the index. And the stock has moved into an short-term uptrend. The intermediate trend, however, is picking up some momentum. The long-term trend, I would say, it's not very strong. You can visually also, you can see that there has not been much trending move from a long-term point of view from this important counter. When we generally see such long-bodied candlesticks, always keep an eye on the 50% mark, the halfway mark of these candlesticks. For Reliance, it's about 25.80. So any kind of a short-term correction, 25.80 should hold. You can use a little above 25.80 because in that case you will get these highs which aligns with these lows. So it should not actually break below or close below these levels. We were lucky at our mentorship traders. We actually went for a short trade during this span and we could make some quick buck out of it. But yes, I would say in the hindsight, we were pretty lucky to book out quickly because today's move was phenomenal. So if Reliance manages to sustain above this zone, which is at 2590, now we can use 2590, 2600 like a round figure. And if it manages to sustain above that, then if Reliance starts to improve, it will bring in a lot of support to the market. It's not a trade for tomorrow, but it's an important stock that we should keep in mind. I don't expect that the IT, especially Infosys, TCS, will bounce back exceptional and continue the outperformance, holding the torch from the right at the front. But it's stocks like Reliance, it's stocks like Larsen and Toubro, it's stocks like metals like Tata Steel and banking like SBI, and of course the HDFC twins, which matters. And Reliance is one stock that has definitely given a move today, and it will be interesting to see whether it sustains or not. Because if Reliance does not sustain, that also will bring pressure to the Nifty. Right? All right. So that's it for today's market analysis from my end. Do let me know your thoughts. Take care of yourselves. Trade well and trade wise.